I was inspired to do this video by another YouTuber and current events. Quite frankly, everyone knows the controversy behind the Black Panther movie. Long story short, it talks about white people being bad and black people being good. I was curious and decided to see the movie myself just to see what all the fuss was about. After sitting in the cinema, immediate regret. The movie indeed was made to promote white guilt itself.
How do you think your ancestors got these? You think they paid a fair price? Or did they take it when they took everything out?
Don't even get me started on how black SJWs praised this movie.
Anyways, so I wanted to make this video about the Black Panther movie that is going bananas. Everybody is going bananas, breaking down what this movie is, why it means so much to black people. And I wanted to make a video of why that is, because I don't think people really understand why this movie means so much to black people. A self-governing, liberated, anti-colonial, black-powered Africa.
Well, I really love to disappoint them, and if Wakanda was real, the real world would hit them hard. So, we know that Wakanda is a utopia-like nation in Africa, and the country has become incredibly successful because of the country's supply of a strong metal called vibranium. Let me also state that vibranium isn't even native to the country. It came from a meteor that went crashing down inside the borders. This metal basically builds everything for them, including the technology that is supposedly superior to everyone else's. But when you look at this from a macroeconomic perspective, Wakanda is dirt poor. We're seeing this kind of system in the real world, and it's called the paradox of plenty. In simple terms, a nation that has only one resource, industry that generates a lot of money, has a very poor population with a small GDP per capita and human development index. And it quite makes sense. When a nation has one booming industry, all other branches lag behind because the disproportionate amount of money is handed to that booming branch. Furthermore, nations that adopt the paradox of plenty system have the least democracy because the leaders of that booming industry control the entire nation without competition. It is just that it is said, give me control over the nation's wealth and I care not who makes the laws. In the Marvel movie, the leaders of Wakanda actually do use all the money to care for the people. However, in real life, dictators are not so benevolent. They control all the money for themselves while giving very little to the people. Most monarchies and dictatorships in history have gone this way. It is just as Machiavelli had said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. If you need examples, look at Saudi Arabia. It's the largest oil exporter in the world, while so many people live in poverty and the ruling class is fantastically wealthy. You can see it for yourself. Oil is their only big industry, and yet the average salary is $530 a month, while the unemployment rate is an astronomical 12%. Do you need another example? Well, look at Russia. The country has some of the biggest gas resources in the world, while the average Russian lives off $400 to $500 a month, around 31,000 rubles. These corporations that are owned by the Russian government generate massive pay inequality and become dollar billionaires, while a quarter of Russians don't even live to see the age of 55 because of bad standards and vodka. Here's another very big example. Venezuela, which has an economy that is 90% dependent on its oil reserves. President Maduro controlled everything and provided the people. However, in 2016 to 2017, the price of oil fell, and with shortages in pretty much everything, there was no money to supply the people. Because of that, there was just no food, and Venezuelans had to literally eat garbage. In the West, our economies are diversified between agriculture, technology, industry, tourism, etc., and democracy is much, much stronger. However, countries like Saudi Arabia or Russia or Venezuela simply fail to diversify their economies. They sell nothing that people want to buy except for oil or gas, and if their prices go down, the entire economy goes into a recession. And just like I explained earlier, the people who control these economies are the heads of state and hog all the money for themselves, while the rest of the population must do everything they can to survive. Wakanda has this exact same system. The head of state is not democratic or elected, but a monarch just like in the Middle Ages, which oversees production of its only industry, vibranium. In reality, T'Challa would be just like most dictators in history, turning the country into a feudal state with the rich controlling the nation's every attribute while their people are poor as hell. Government with a paradox of plenty system are simply too corrupt and don't provide the people with what they need. Okay, but for the sake of the movie, let's just say that the Wakandan government isn't corrupt and T'Challa magically knows what the people need. Wakanda still has a problem. Because it is an isolationist nation that doesn't trade with other countries, their vibranium goods become much more expensive, which prompts people in the nation to make a profit otherwise, however illegal it may be. When you make it illegal to buy or trade something, you get a booming black market that enables people to buy it cheaply. And buyers love getting things cheaply. Even in the Marvel universe, villains and heroes alike buy vibranium under the table for their own use, and the outside world gets a piece of it too. I mean, why wouldn't they want it like that? Smugglers earn a lot of money while the buyers get all the material they need. In conclusion, I'd like to say in the same way I find bald women unattractive as shit, Wakanda is quite an undesirable place to live. The nation is run by a monarch that controls everything with the only industry and makes money off of the black market. I wonder what Black Lives Matter activists would say to that.